Hello, don't know if you can hear that. I think the sound is playing up, I think. Let me see. 1 second. So we're having a few tech difficulties at the moment. But yeah. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so that was a short video about like a short entry when it comes to sort of spoken word. Yeah, so if you couldn't hear it, it's literally just gave you like a sort of timeline of how spoken word from a sort of visible point of view started, and where it came from, and how it sort of manifested to what it is now, in this sort of time, really. Yeah, so again, it's very, 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 very powerful in how you can use spoken word in this day and age. There's so many different artists. 1 second. Yeah, there's so many different artists, and so many different ways of how these guys express themselves. Yeah, and I suppose it's like I said with anyone when they're sort of starting out in sort of writing bars. It's like, how would you sort of go about it? I would say the best way to always think about it is what's on your mind. What is on your mind, because the most important thing is what makes you as a person. How do you tap into that? How do you look at your own, what's going on in terms of your life? So for example, if we was to talk about what's going on in COVID now, for example, think about how you feel. Think about, do you feel isolated? Think about, are you able to express yourselves through what's going on as well? Because again, it's like, if you keep yourself silent, if you keep yourself sort of isolated, it can be very difficult for you to get any kind of traction in what you want as a young performer, young person. So it's always good to just write down the first thing that comes into your mind. So for example, if you think about COVID, if you think about how is it affecting you as a person, if you think about your state of mind and how you are as a person, so think about it from a point of view is like, how do I then put down to pen and paper, or how do I put down my phone? So think about the topic. So like I said, use COVID as example as your topic. Once you use that as a topic, then think about everything that's going on with COVID. Think about politically. Think about your household. Think about, do you feel restrained? Think about what the media, what the news is saying. Think what friends and family are saying. And once you get like a sort of overall synopsis of that, then you start forming like what we call bars or lines or things like that. Then you start putting things together. Now, the thing is with spoken word as well, you don't have to always rhyme. You don't always have to, rhyme a particular word. You can do. You can repeat a lot of things as well. There's a lot of things you can repeat. There's a lot of things that you can, like I suppose if you look at a song, you've got like 16 bars, then you've got like a chorus, then you've got another 16 bars, and then you might have like a bridge, and then whatever. I suppose with a lot of rap, sometimes you might have 32 bars, and then you just keep going, and then you might find like a little hook. With spoken word, I would say it's very free. You don't have to have it in that kind of format. You can literally just write and write and write and write. But think about it from when you're performing it now, you have to always have something that the audience can sort of get their sense of what you're trying to say to them. I want to give you examples. So there's a guy you may or may not know. His name is George the Poet. He's one of the premier, I suppose, spoken word artists. I'm going to play something from him. So have a listen to what he does, and then let's take it from there. Hopefully this will come out better than the previous videos. So let's have a listen to this. This is George the Poet. It's something that he's written recently. I think the volume, I think it's still coming out a bit crazy. Anyway, in your own time, if you go into it, his name is George the Poet. He's a a really good spoken word artist, and that piece is called "It Was Written." So in your own time, if you can go into YouTube, look for George the Poet. It performs, and it's called "It Was Written." Now, what he does is within this this spoken word piece, he talks about all these sort of UK artists that have influenced him. People from like Miss Dynamite to Dizzy Rascal. Talks about Krypton Conan and so on and so on and so on and so on. But if you look at the way he's dropping the bars, he's very articulate in how he's phrasing certain words. So in some parts he's rapping. In other parts, he's literally just speaking his mind of this is how he was influenced as a young person, and that's what I'm trying to say. When it comes to spitting your bars, always look at it from a point of what's my goal? What am I trying to tell my audience? What am I trying to articulate to my audience? Because it's very, 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 very important to always think to yourself, okay, I've got something to say, but then how do I express it? Expression is the key. So if you're going to get anything from these sessions, think about expression, think about what's on your mind, because I suppose as people, as young people, and as people in general, we feel suppressed. We feel that no one's listening to us. We feel that no one's taking our side. We feel that, your own sort of knowledge and your own power. Everything's subjective when it comes to words at the end of the day. So how you choose to express yourself is really down to you. There's no right, there's no wrong way. All I would say is just start from a sort of point of who are you? Sometimes you can look yourself in the mirror and say, who am I? What am I about? Why do I like the things I like? Why do I eat or why do I wear the things I eat or like or whatever? Um, you know, you guys go college. Think about it. Why'd you go college for? What's the point? Is it just because your parents told you to go college? Is it because you see yourself in some kind of industry later on? Or are you just sort of going through the motions? This is what I suppose life, and this is where life and sort of spoken word sort of comes into it, where arch yourself apart from if you're sort of playing PlayStations or if you're out playing football or tennis or some kind of sport or whatever with your friends. When do you actually have time for yourselves to express yourself? It's very, very difficult to express yourself, unless you give yourself that time. So I would encourage, once we get better reception from these, when I get better audio, we'll go through a sort of process where you can actually, put these things into motion. But what I would say is the first thing is, if you whoever's watching, I would say the very first thing is, I would say topic. Think about a topic. So like I said, I think the topic should start with you yourself. Like maybe the title could be "Who am I?" So this is where sometimes you've got to do a self-examination of who am I. Um, you know, so you got that. Then it's like, what do I like? So list all the things that you like. Whether it's food, people, TV programs, films, that kind of thing. Then also put what you dislike, what don't you like, um, you know, and then you can start forming certain lines or certain phrases. For example, can say, "Well, my name's Femi Akinyemi, born from two Nigerian parents, but I'm Sterling Reigns, Super Eagle, flying green, white, green. My flow is clean, but when people see me, they think I'm pristine." That's rhyming. Do you know what I mean? But if I was to just make it more simplistic, I don't have to rhyme. It's all about expressing that particular moment and also believing what you're saying as well. There's also spoken word where you can repeat stuff, a lot of repetition. I think if you look at a lot of grime, a lot of drill music, a lot of people, a lot of artists um, repeat. You're thinking, oh, why repeating for? But literally, that's what they do. They just repeat a particular sound or style, and they continue to just say the same thing over and over and over and over again. You're saying to yourself, why do you keep saying the same thing over and over and over again? But it's what it is. That's what they do. But you can do that in your poems as well, or your spoken word poetry. You can also think about it from a point of view of, you might use apple. I got up and I ate an apple. And when I went to the store, I saw another apple. When I walked down to the pavement and I looked down on the floor and I saw another image of an apple. And then when I got to school, I got to college and I was walking down the corridors, a teacher looked at me, but all I can see is an apple. Yeah, that kind of thing. It sounds silly, but it really can be something that it expresses what you want as an individual. Then think about it from a point of view of picking your the I suppose devices. So what I mean by that is, or even images. So again, it's like when you're doing any kind of spoken word, think about it from a point of are you going to think about it from I know you're on road, or are you in a environment where it could be at home or whatever. So I'll give you an example. If I was to look at this, and I'm gonna put this on the screen because I don't want to play it in case it doesn't come out properly. expressive. You know, he's actually been on TED to talk as well when it comes to his art form. So that's with what he does and what he says, and yeah, you know, you can't sort of go wrong when it comes to that as well. So yeah, um, yeah, I think this first session really just to give you like a sort of overall. You know, I don't want to sort of start telling you how to form your rhymes now. Maybe in the second or third session we'll do some stuff and we can actually do some things and we can submit it to the college and see how that goes, and maybe we can perform it at college. Who knows? But also as well, I think, you know, it's important to get with other people that write as well. So I suppose I would encourage you guys to find other people that are into writing bars, so you can obviously speak and swap ideas, and also, you know, watch each other perform, because ultimately when you're doing spoken word, is how am I going to perform this? And I know it can be kind of daunting when you're performing something, whether it's to one person or whether it's to 1,000 people. But these are things that you develop over a period of time, because first and foremost, it's all about making sure you have something that you got to say to begin with, and then the next thing is look at it from a point of, okay, how do I express myself? What does my face look like? How nervous am I? You know, because one thing is nerves can play a part when you're performing something live as well. So what I would say is always think about it from a point of view of, you know, nerves are good. It will give you the edge to performers and to give you the sort of ownership in knowing how you are as a person when you step onto that stage. But sometimes just take a deep breath, just and then from there you can just the thing is, you can close your eyes. That's the thing with spoken word. You know, how you interact with people, how you interact with the audience, you can actually close your eyes and just imagine yourself being in a particular place and just talk. You know, just say what you've written and express that, and you'll be surprised how that comes out. But if we look at like I said, we'll give you a few more ways of how you can start. So I would say is think about brainstorming. So brainstorm a topic. You know, before you begin writing, think about the topic. Think about what you're going to write about. Think about, you know, the issues around that topic. List as many different things as possible, which is very, very important. Also, as well, I would say number two, if you want to put into sections, think about research a topic. So again, if you're talking about a particular subject, what do you know about it? What do you know about it? Think about what you know now, and then versus what you don't know about it. So it's going to be very, 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 very important to research what you're talking about. You know what I mean? You know, research what you're talking about, because if you research what you're talking about, then you're going to have more layers to what you can write about. You know, so research is very, 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 very important. So once you brainstorm, think about researching what you're actually trying to talk about. Another thing is how you're going to drop it. You know, another good thing about spoken word is there's no rules. So what that means is you can drop it in a comedy style, you can drop it in a serious tone, you can drop it with a bit of music, you can drop it with I don't know, get 2 or 3 people, you can get to have some dance, some imagery. It's up to you. But the most important thing is when you're performing it, think about how you're going to get your message across, because like I said, you know, how you present your poem or how you present your spoken word is going to be how people see it. So sometimes you might need to perform it in front of the mirror a few times as well. So do that as well. Another thing is, obviously, once you do get to do it, now before we do that, think about there's a phrase called toe write, which is TOWRITE, toe write. So it's like free writing as well. So again, write down what comes to mind, you know. So when you sort of free write, sometimes just write, just like I'm talking, just write. Then you can always go back and tweak things. You can say, oh, that sounded good, or that don't sound good, I throw that away. You know, because sometimes, again, you might not express it in words, you might express it in grunts, or yeah, or or whatever. But later on, those can become words, if that makes sense. So, you know, don't be afraid um, to rhyme, to write, to free write, to toe write, and just come back and revisit what you've written. You might write 2, 3, 4 pages of just words. It might not make sense when you read it back, but then you might form phrases from that particular thing as well. So you've got that. Then I think most important thing is once you get that, the next thing to do is memorize. Now we all retain information in different ways. And this is where I suppose you as an individual, as a young person or as a person, it doesn't have to be a young person, just be a person in general. How do you memorize things? How do you memorize your Spotify music when you listen to words, when you listen to artists, whether it's Cardi B or John Lennon or Beatles or Michael Jackson, whoever, you know, how do you memorize words? So with your poems, obviously one of the ways is just to repeat until you know it. Another way is when you write in your bars, think about images, because images can play a part in how you phrase your words as well. So think about your image. Think about when you're writing bars, attach it to an image. That could be a way of memorizing as well. Because when you're performing it, you want to be as comfortable as possible. Because a lot of spoken word artists, when you watch them rhyme, when it comes to people like George the Poet or Sully Breaks, you know, which I'm concentrating on those two because they're UK based, they say their rhymes as if like they're freestyling it, but trust me, it's not a freestyle. It's you hear them perform that same track word for word when they're doing their tour or when they're doing certain shows. So that's the thing, is memorize it to the point where you know it, and when you know it, then you start going to the next phase, which is practice. Now, if anything in life, if you don't practice, then boy, you don't know. So to get good at something, you know, so for example, I used to play ball, play football at high level. And one thing the coach always said to me is, I know what you can do. I know what you can do with your left foot, but what can you do with your right foot? You know, so you set yourself a challenge. So sometimes practice. So if you've got a thing of stage fright, which a lot of people do, which a lot of people have, how do you overcome that? Well, the first thing what I would say is, like I said, perform in front of the mirror. Look at yourself. What do you look like? Do you even like what you're looking back at in the mirror? That's the first thing. Perform it. Record yourself on the phone. Watch your mannerisms. Watch your the way your eyes are, the way your mouth drops, the way your hands are positioned. You know, speed as well. You know, think about the dynamics of what you're trying to say and how you say it. Very, very, very important. And then once you sort of get past that phase, then I think the next sort of progression from that is to perform in front of people that you feel comfortable with. So that could be family, that could be friends, could be a dog. I have no idea. Whatever floats your boat. Make sure that you perform in front of 1 or 2 people. So then you can get a reaction, you know, but don't be afraid of criticism. Don't be afraid of constructive criticism. You know, it could be simple things. You should have tucked your shirt in or something, or it could be look up, don't look down, because a lot of performers tend to look down like this when they're performing. So look up, you know. And then once you get past that, then I think you might be ready to start performing in, you know, whether it's small college gigs or going out to spoken word places in and around the UK. Although we're in this pandemic at the moment, but there's nothing stopping no one going on Instagram, on YouTube, on Face, on Twitch, on Snap, and doing your things. I know everyone uses TikTok and whatever, which is another way of self-expressing. But all these different mediums, there's no reason why, nothing's stopping nobody from going on these platforms and performing. Nothing at all. No one's stopping no one. So you have an opportunity, especially if we're gonna go into another lockdown, to express yourselves. You know, to come with a subject or come with how you're feeling and just put it over. You never know, and you never know who it gets to. You never know who may see it. You never know who it may touch. You never know how you might help another person going through a similar thing to you. So always think about that side of the performance, you know, especially if you're performing in front of the cameras or your phone, if you think about it. So that'd be another way. And then I suppose the next thing from that would be how to deliver, you know, how you're delivering your piece. So again, think about it when you're talking to someone, look into people's eyes, look into, take your time, you know, if you need to pause. You know, sometimes what you say is powerful, you know. So to deliver your performance or your piece, you know, think about your tone, think about the impact of certain words. You know, you may suddenly, you know, draw out certain sentences or phrases longer than normal because you want to, you want to say it in a way where it leaves a lasting effect on your audience. So delivery is very, 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 very important. Very important. And I think I touched on this earlier, but again, think about it. Practice. Yeah, you got to practice it until it's second nature. So what that means is that when you're performing anything, think about it from a point of, you know,